But I'm a Cheerleader was one of the first musicals that was workshopped through Paul Taylor Mills' MT Fest all the way back in 2019. And I'm so glad to see one of these shows finally get a full production from this festival lineup. Unlike Broadway with Off Broadway, we don't really have a good system in West End theatre to produce new work and boost it to the West End within London. It's why it's so great to see venues like the Other Palace and obviously the Turbine Theatre actively try and build these spaces and develop these shows. But I'm a Cheerleader is based off the original film of the same name and follows Megan, a 17-year-old girl who is whisked away to a rehabilitation camp after her family and friends suspect that she might be a lesbian. I think there's two things that this show gets really right, and one of these is the comedy. The book, written by Bill Augustin, is just so funny. I was almost caught off guard by how funny the jokes were. They have such a great range of gags, from physical comedy to jokes about the limits of the venue, and jokes about the amount of quick changes the actors had to go through to achieve the multi-role in this show. It doesn't really take itself too seriously, and these meta moments really landed. I think that when you're dealing with such a traumatic experience for some queer people, like conversion therapy, belittling the establishment that it creates and the idea that, gayness can be cured works really well, especially within the story. And I think But I'm a Cheerleader points out the flaws really well. From the ex gays who come to visit and help the kids out, to the coach who claims he was cured by the camp, but he is the campest thing within that camp. The second thing this show gets absolutely right is the casting. Among these actors, there is not a single weak link. Some of the absolute stand-up performances being Lemuel Knight, who just steals the show in his first number within Act 1 as the camp coach. Edward Chittix as the dumb but kind jock. Evie Rose Lane as Graham, who gets some really strong moments to show off her amazing vocals. And of course, the icon, the legend, the moment Jodie Steele, who literally got a laugh out of me every time she opened her mouth as Hillary. Despite singling out these couple of performances, I must say that even the ones I haven't mentioned are still really good. It's just, I can't mention literally everyone in this video, because if I did, I'd be here forever, because I love them. Very good. I'm professional. I think the music was very solid throughout. I will say the show feels quite weighted towards the musical numbers, and this made the pacing feel a little bit odd, especially within Act 1. However, it does deliver some really good bops. My two favourites being the song where not Graham, it's Megan. My favourites being the song where Megan's family tells them that they're sending her to the camp because those riffs. God, those riffs. And Graham's ballad towards the end of Act 1. However, I do think where But I'm a Cheerleader kind of lacks is in its structure. Act 1 is really fun, but it's overly long. It could really do with a little bit of trimming of the fat to kind of get to the point a bit faster. However, I must say that this problem wasn't a problem within Act 2, which felt a lot snappier and was a more enjoyable experience because of that. I think with all the stories that it wanted to tell, despite how great these are, it does kind of lose focus a little bit, and it does kind of make it feel a little bit disconjointed. Disconjointed? Disjointed. Disjointed. Which one? Sound off in the comments below. These structural issues, I think, are more of just a sign of the place where the musical is at. I mean, if you think about it, this is really the first big tryout for this musical. Structure and pacing are really hard things to get right, especially when you're not showing it to an audience and getting an audience's response to the storyline and how it flows. So I really do believe that this is just a small teething problem that the show's going to sort out as it takes its next steps. And I must say, I really do hope this show has a good life beyond the Turbine. I know, and I'm very happy to see that the show has just been extended, and it has also been announced that they are making some changes to the scripts and the show as it goes on and to prepare it for its next step in the journey. And I'm really glad that it's kind of taking those steps, because I think this show was a little bit too big for the Turbine. The Turbine is a tiny theatre, probably no more than about 70 seats. A stage that feels so minuscule, so much in fact that the actors were having to like maneuver their way across the back of the set to get to either side. It was literally bursting out. This show feels a lot bigger than what it got. And of course, I think they use this to their advantage within the jokes and the meta-ness of it. The show acknowledged that it was a bit too big for this area. But I really hope that it gets that next step and gets the venue that it deserves, because I think we are really calling out and in need for more queer stories, and especially queer musicals in theatre in general, and especially in London. That's the biggest takeaway I have from this show, really. As a trans person, it almost feels like a hug. It's just this explosion of queer joy, which Paul Taylor Mills will take on Twitter. Look, I could give loads of nitpicks here, there, and everywhere. I could talk about how I'm not sure about the ending that they give to the leader of True Directions. I could talk about the moments where I think they need to put weight on for extra effect. But I think with a show like this, it's so easy to forgive it because it just gives 100%. When you're sitting there and you're watching a show that is so self-aware, so celebratory of who you are and who you've kind of struggled to appreciate for so long, I think it just comes together to make a queer story that is great to see told. The cast, the music, just it all comes together and it's just fun. It's a very watchable show. It's just a feel-good show. And honestly, sometimes you need that. I think with a few little tweaks that the show is going to get as it takes its extension at the Turbine, I think But I'm a Cheerleader has a really strong chance of having another life. I think what they desperately need to do is they need to get that cast recording done, because bestie, that's how you get your shows out nowadays. Look at Beetlejuice, look at Heathers, look at Be More Chill. That's how you get the buzz. I think this could become another big cult classic musical. And I think it could be another big success story. However, I think they just need to give it the development it needs. They need to put the energy behind it so that it can achieve it. Because if I'm going to say anything about But I'm a Cheerleader, I think it really does feel like they have something special here. Thank you for watching this review. If you would like to book tickets to see But I'm a Cheerleader, please go to the link in the description. I'll leave a little link. Please try and support some new queer theatre if you live in the UK. And if you don't, give it a little share. Give us some buzz. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm going to be doing loads of little reviews for some shows coming up soon, including Death Drop and Cabaret. So if you're interested in those and you're enjoying this kind of review content, please let me know in the comments down below. I can't believe I left this on screen the entire video. Can't believe that.